If the federal government, led by Eric Holder, decides to file a lawsuit against SB 1070, what would be your basis for a defense in the court of law? And we'll start with Mr. Horne.
Well, Senate Bill 1070 is well supported by established law. It provides that there can be no sanctuary cities. I think it's shameful that a city will say they're not going to enforce federal law. Why should anybody respect their statutes in the city if they don't respect federal law? And it says that if you lawfully stop someone, you can inquire on reasonable suspicion, a well-developed concept. I've researched it. There are over 270 cases since the early 1970s dealing with reasonable suspicion. So it's well-developed law, and I think 1070 can be well defended. I became a Republican 14 years ago, as did Ronald Reagan become a Republican after being a Democrat. Both of us maybe had misspent youth, but the intelligent person never stops learning, as did Phil Gramm, as did Bob Stump. I've well established my conservative credentials as a member of the legislature voting to cut personal income taxes, to cut corporate income taxes, and as a superintendent of schools, applying accountability, bringing back the teaching of history in our schools, putting a stop to ethnic studies in Tucson, and a myriad of other conservative policies that I have made work in the Department of Education and that I would make work in the Attorney General's office. But you cannot have judges intimidated by prosecutors, because if we don't have an independent judiciary, nobody has any constitutional rights, because there will be no one there to defend your constitutional rights. Mr. Thomas cannot tell you about evidence because there is none. I guarantee you that not one of those judges ever took a penny in a bribe or ever extorted anyone. He made that up. He brought a crazy lawsuit and he had to drop it because he had no evidence to defend it, and it would have been dismissed if he hadn't done that. The same thing happened with the case he brought against Don Stately. The same thing happened with the case he brought against Russ Jones, a member of the legislature that he wanted to intimidate. The same thing happened with all of his cases against the Board of Supervisors. Every single political case that he made up was dropped or dismissed. He hasn't won a single one of those cases, and he's wasted $3 million of our money doing it.
Again, but I have a feeling you'd like a rebuttal. Is this true?
No one else has got a rebuttal.